All right, guys, welcome back to the Low Carb Consultant Podcast. Today, I'm excited to welcome Courtney Luna, a former yacht chef turned passionate carnivore advocate. Courtney transformed her life through a meat-based lifestyle, shifting from emotional eating, yo-yo dieting, and low energy to thriving with clarity, mental strength, and sustainable health. Today, she shares easy carnivore and keto recipes, creative meal ideas like carnivore pizza, which I love, and the emotional freedom she's found while healing her relationship with food. So, Courtney, it's great to finally meet you here, and thanks so much for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to chat today.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe before we jump into all the fun stuff, can you give the listeners, maybe who are not familiar with who you are quite yet, just a real brief background on yourself and, what took you down this path?
Yeah, so I'm 41 years old, mom of two, married in Southern California. And I mean, long story short, long history of yo-yo dieting. And it wasn't until um, I would say even like 2010 where I got a little bit closer to health with finding Mark Sisson's Primal Blueprint. So got into paleo, which led to keto. And then, so I guess it was probably like 4 years ago, my husband was sending me Dr. Paul Saladino's TikToks and like we didn't say anything. Like, and after a month, I'm like, why are you sending me these? Like, should we not be eating vegetables? That's so weird. Like, that goes against everything, we've been told. He's like, oh, I need to like do a little research. So, he goes YouTube University, does all his research, and we're like, let's just give it a shot because at the time I stopped doing what was working for me, which was low carb keto. I got caught up in the anti-diet culture BS where they're like, all foods fit, everything in moderation. You have to eat everything to have a good relationship with food. And I was like, yeah, that sounds amazing. Let's do that. It essentially sent me on like a 4-month spiral, 4-month binge. I gained 40 pounds. So I was not doing well. So when he, suggested this, it took me a while to get there, but I'm like, let's just give it a shot because I feel like crap. I'm almost 200 pounds. My mental health was in the crapper. Like I was not doing well. So we
And
gave
this
it a
time you
shot
were on keto. You were on keto at this time before, correct?
for on and off for 7 years, then tried to eat everything in moderation for that 4 months. So that's what kind of
Got it.
like put me back up into, yeah. Gave it a shot, had no idea all the health benefits I would get because I wasn't really like following other influencers. So I didn't really know what to expect. I just, was like, I just need to lose this weight. It was just another thing that I was coming for the weight loss. And it's been life changing. My mental health, my acne, like all the things. It's just been amazing.
Yeah, so okay, so just to back up a little bit, so you were on and off keto or low carb for a while there. I think you said 7 years, and then you were on like a 4-month, uh, basically
Binge.
trying to yeah, kinda trying to figure things out. Was there a specific moment when you flipped to carnivore where you were just like, "Oh my god, this is it. I found it."
Yeah, it was probably even like a month in. So, since I was following Saladino, I started off eating fruit. And in hindsight, it's like my sugar addicted brain just wasn't ready like to give that up. So, I did do that for about like 5 weeks and still like got a lot of health benefits, but I was realizing that my like my mouth still wanted blueberries after I was full and satisfied from a ribeye. So it was, 5 weeks. I'm like, I think I'm just going to try like strict carnivore and ditch the fruit. But yeah, I mean, even like I would say like the first few weeks are kind of like wonky, but after like the first like 30 days, I was like, I'm feeling massive changes, especially with my mental health because I was still on Zoloft at the time. But the dose was so low that I still wasn't feeling great. So I was able to like notice that shift. And yeah, so 30 days was great. 90 days got even better. I feel like things even shifted even more.
Interesting. So how long has it been now, just full-blown carnivore?
Well, okay. So it would be May was 3 years, but I'm struggling lately, to be honest, with being strict carnivore. It's like
Mm.
I tried to kind of like add things back in and the sugar monster got me. So it's hard. Like it's hard to get back on track. So I mean, to this day, still occasionally we'll have like a bite here and there of like my kids' fruit, but it just kicks up the food noise. Like that's just where I struggle. The food noise is so quiet when I'm just eating strict carnivore. But then it's almost like I self-sabotage. Like, "Oh, I'm doing great. Let me just have a little bite of this." Like, it's fine. I just want to eat normal again. My kids are eating it. Why is it so bad? So it's like this self-sabotage talk where I think that I can like handle these foods when I've had so much self-realization from eating this way. Like I'm not a moderator. Some people can like, have a donut one day, go back on track, not give it another thought. I've learned that I'm an abstainer, so I should be abstaining from these foods that are triggering for me. So, just like alcohol, there's a reason why I don't drink alcohol. And
Mhm.
like I think there's a lot of there's a correlation with food and sugar for sure.
Oh, 100%. I would agree with you, and obviously everyone's different. They have their own little triggers, some, like you said, for some people it's alcohol, for some people it's sugar, for some people it's other things, you know what I mean? Just out of curiosity, are there like specific foods, like I think you were saying when you have some of your kids' fruit, it can kind of send you down a bad path. Is there anything in particular that is like that like calls to you when you're like strict carnivore and if you eat it, it takes you down? Is it typically fruit or is it sometimes sweets like candy?
And here's the thing. So I'll say dried mango. It's not even that I'm like eating awful things. Like on paper, it's like, okay, dried mango, it's a fruit. At least it's, a whole food. It's not like Oreos or something. But that to me is like candy. So it's little things that I still feel okay feeding my kids, but they like grab a hold on me. And then I'm like, well, why am I feeding this to my kids? Like, am I ruining my kids? Are they like, cause I see them being little like sugar monsters with the fruit. So then, I mean, it's chaos in my brain lately. Will just be honest.
Yeah, well, I would tell you I've got 2 little ones too. I have a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old old daughter, and, maybe I'll be asking your advice here in a quick second in regards to, your children, how you guys navigate food in your house, what's available to them, what they can eat, what they can't eat, but, my wife and I struggle, not necessarily with my son, but with my daughter. Like, she will sneak snacks, she shows, in my opinion, these are the conversations I have with my wife. She shows very early signs of like sugar addiction and like binge eating. And I talk to my wife about this and I say, I want to nip this in the bud. Like part of me just, we want to make sure they have food available for like school and things like that. But part of me just wants to like not buy any of this stuff because I can see how it changes her attitude, her demeanor, how she concentrates on, like, little projects, like, it changes her. I wonder if do you have any of those same problems in your house, out of curiosity?
Yeah, so my kids are 7 and 5, so right there with you, and the food situation with them is, like, touchy because I don't want to create food issues. Like, I'm aware of the comments I get, like, "You're gonna create eating disorders in your kids," and of course, I don't want that, but I don't feel like that means that I need to be feeding them I always say Oreos, it's, like, my go-to, but, they don't need to be eating all this junk in moderation so I don't give them a eating disorder. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. So what we do is I feel like everything in the house, I want to be able to say yes to. And any treats, if they have them, are gonna be outside of the house, which oh, there's so many different ways I could go right now. I will say we went to a friend's house this morning and we do a little homeschool co-op. And so it was like setting up for pictures and like the kids were gonna have donuts at the end. And I'm like, oh, like why does everything have to revolve around food? And why does it have to be donuts? So on the way there, I'm like, I will give you guys each $5 if you don't eat the donut. And my other kid, he's such a negotiator. He's like, what about 10? I'm like, I'm not going to do 10. Like, it's your choice.
Nice.
If you want to eat the donut, that's fine. But then we like talked about it where it's like, we shouldn't be, this isn't food. This isn't nutritious. You should want to like take care of your body and feel good. And then so we kind of talked about like moderation because I'm like, well, would you eat rat poisoning? Because he's like, I only have a donut once in a while. I'm like, this is true. So it was this whole conversation about kind of essentially moderating donuts and how he doesn't have them all the time. And then maybe this is like too much information for a 7-year-old, but I'm like, but if you're having a little bit of rat poison, he's like, well, this donut's not going to hurt me right away. I'm like, okay, but if you have it every day, then then you eat all this junk every day. You're going to get diabetes when you're older. And that's when he's like, well, I don't have it every day. It was like this whole thing on the way. I'm like, okay, well,
Sure.
I don't want to make it a big deal. I'm like, this is your decision. I just wish you would make better choices for your body. And fast forward to just, a few hours later, which was just like 10 minutes ago when he's having diarrhea, I'm like, okay, see, this is the choice from your donut. But I want to give them that power and control to make their own decisions. And
Totally.
that's why I just do like everything we have at the house is yes foods. And then if we're going to have treats or they're going to eat things off plan, I mean, once in a while I'll buy some like snacky foods that like aren't ideal, but it's more like, okay, we're going out to dinner. Some days I'm like, no, we're just having meat. But sometimes I'll let them pick what they want just to like, I don't know. I'm just hoping that's like the balance to not screw them up because like you said, and back to the original question, as I go off on this tangent, I do see a difference in their behavior 100%. And I've even talked to a friend who's a school teacher, and she's like, I've asked some of the kids like what their breakfast was that day when they're like crazy. And it's always like cereal. Like a kid that's having steak and eggs, their blood sugar is going to
Yeah,
be a little bit more level. Like I
totally.
wonder because if we homeschool, if my kid was in a regular classroom, I 100% would be getting calls from the teacher. He has ADHD. He can't sit still, and I just wonder how many kids are getting even misdiagnosed with ADHD, but it's really just like their diet too. I mean, you know what I mean? So even mine that eats so good, it's almost like too energetic. I'm feeding him too good. Like I need some like lethargy here, to like calm him down.
Yeah, you said something interesting about like wanting them to make their own decisions and learn, and that made me think of my son, because my daughter aside, my son is pretty good overall with food and treats and sugar, and I would say we're kind of on the same level as you based off of what you're going through. But what's interesting with him and what I notice is when he eats something, like, say we'll go to a movie and we'll let him have some Sour Patch Kids because he obviously doesn't have them that often, but when he does have them, he does mention to us that he doesn't feel that good and his tummy hurts and, like, a couple other things, and that's when, my wife and I say, like, "Okay, there's a reason why we don't eat like this, and we're okay with you eating it every once in a while as long as you're aware of how you feel afterwards, because this is the type of stuff you don't want to eat on a consistent basis." And he typically says, "Okay, like I got it." Like, but my daughter, on the other hand, yeah, she'll crush all the candy, even if she feels like crap, she still wants more. So like she's completely like on a different level. So but I know I can kind of feel your pain there in terms of navigating these situations with kids, because you want them to be able to experience like being a child and sometimes having a sweet here and there, but you also don't want them to feel completely miserable after they eat it?
Yeah, and that's why I'm even frustrated that these foods exist because it just makes parenting harder. Like if it could just be whole
Yeah.
foods everywhere, like that would be great. But the fact that like candy and popcorn and this and that like exists and then we have to battle it and either try and help them moderate or not. But yeah, like teaching them proper nutrition. I mean, the same thing. We're like, okay, listen to your body. And later when you're not feeling good, like this is why. Or even when they want a piece of fruit, it's like, okay, let's pair it with a protein. So we try and teach them why we're eating this way and not just, no, you can't have it. It's bad. Have this. Like we try and teach them a little bit about macros as far as, what they can understand. But it's just frustrating because now we're starting up soccer season. And
Mhm.
why do we have to do snacks? Can't we just all feed our own kids? Like why do we have to do snacks? And then it's just like appalling to see the snacks that are being served. And, we're
Capri
great.
Sun and yeah, all
Gatorade.
the stuff.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
3-year-old who
Mm.
cuddled with me half of her soccer game does not need a Gatorade. Like, she's okay. And so we'll, like, graciously take the snacks and say thank you, but they know, like, "Okay, we're gonna look in the bag in the car, and you're not having everything in here." And my older kid now knows, he's like, "Oh, red Gatorade, I'm gonna give it to papa. I don't have red 40." Or, like, "Are there seed oils in this?" So they're
Yeah,
aware,
sure.
but they still want some of the stuff, and that's why it's just so frustrating that, like, everything has to revolve around food, like, and celebrations and soccer games and this and that, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird that that is how a lot of our society works and how a lot of these events and soccer games and things, birthday parties, all those types of things revolve around the pizza and the cake. I was curious because you mentioned that you homeschool your kids, and I was literally thinking about this the other day that, you know, and I've had the pleasure of speaking with a lot of doctors that will absolutely admit that they don't get, there's barely any nutrition counseling or schooling in medical school. It's if at all, it's very little. But I was thinking to myself, like, okay, why don't we teach kids like more nutrition in school? Like when you think about it, what you ingest in your body, right? Wouldn't that make sense? Yes, we teach kids like reading and math and all these other elements like history, but it's like, wouldn't it make a ton of sense to teach our kids and have a program in elementary school all the way up that talks about food, how food affects your body, like, and certain foods you want to eat and what you don't want to eat? Like, to me, that would make a lot of sense. And being like a homeschooling parent, I'm sure I would assume, do you have like, do you ever put together like a nutritional course out of curiosity for your kids, or like make that part of the schooling? Because that's what I would do if I was a homeschooling parent. I was curious if you throw that into your curriculum.
No, but that just reminds me, somebody in my DMs was talking to me about that and how they were thinking about creating some sort of homeschool curriculum that did have to do with like carnivore and animal based. Because yeah, I agree. Like, but here's the thing, if they're going to teach that in school, you know what they're going to teach is just BS anyways. It's going to
Yeah,
be I guess the pyramid is like outdated, but my plate or whatever the guidelines that they're using is still going to be
yeah,
BS, because I don't think a lot of people realize that like what we're eating really affects us. Like they really do think we should be having everything and maybe like, the Oreos and the cookies in moderation, but that's still they consider it part of a diet because you need to like have that be part of the balance. Like it's just maddening even, going back to when I was on medication for anxiety and depression, like my doctors, they weren't talking about, oh, what's your diet? Like, I don't think they realize that what we're eating like affects the brain. Like, if you're eating
totally.
an inflammatory diet, your brain's going to be inflamed, and that's linked to depression and anxiety. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you're not going to go to a gas station and get diesel if your car takes, regular gasoline. So why are we putting these foods in our body that some of these things aren't even like food? Like, I feel like we can at least have a common ground. Like, I don't think everyone needs to be carnivore, but can we at least eat a whole foods diet?
Totally.
Single
Totally.
ingredients. Like the
Yeah.
majority of the the country in the world is not doing that. So to be, yeah, teaching our kids nutrition, I wouldn't trust anything that the school would teach my kids about nutrition because they're going to tell them they need to have 7 servings of grains. So I really think that's going to be up to us to teach that at home for sure.
Oh, 100%. I agree. And yeah, like you made a good point. It's like, yeah, the food pyramid's outdated, but they would come out with some, government regulated dietary plan that's going to include grain and cereals and pastries and stuff like that. And it's just like, no, that's exactly the stuff that they don't need to be eating. Like, to your point, if it was like a whole foods based approach, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be carnivore, but if it's a whole foods based approach, that would honestly be a really good start. That would basically end childhood obesity if you were able to implement a program like that and then just let it run for years.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't know how much is public and how much has just been like in these private calls that I've been on. So I don't know how much to say, but I know that there's people in works of like trying to get new nutritional guidelines out. And there was supposed to be like a low carb option, but apparently something was leaked and the low carb option wasn't on there. And so this is like new. Like I
Mm,
still haven't dug into it. Like I haven't read all these messages yet. But that was in the works and apparently it might not even be an option now. So which is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, I feel like people need to know. There's a lot of people that don't know that the way they're eating, like, you're having type 2 diabetes and you're doing that to yourself. I think a lot of people don't realize that that's because of the diet you're eating. So, having this, low carb option put out there so they even understand that that is like, something they can turn to. Like things just need to change. Like I'm all for, sorry, I'm like off on tangents today, but I'm all
no,
for
I've
like,
got another question here for you. So I want you to keep going because I don't want to. I have a feeling we might get slightly political here, but I have a question based off what you were just saying. So please continue.
no, I was just thinking like, okay, I love like what Vonnie is doing Food Babe. Like she's in there trying to, get the food dyes removed. And that's amazing. But can we do, I don't want to negate what she's doing because people are going to still eat that. But can we just go a step further and try and teach people proper nutrition? Like that's great that your Fruit Loops don't have red dye in them, but we shouldn't have Fruit Loops anyways.
Sure,
So
totally.
that's like been kind of frustrating too. We need to look at like the bigger picture.
Sure, I 100% agree. And again, I don't necessarily want to get too off topic here because I want to get back to you and your weight loss and all those types of things because that's what I really want to focus on. But I do think this is important that we're talking about this because, I think these are some of the things that RFK is trying to implement because he has a lot of like Paul Saladino, Gary Brecka. He has a lot of these biohacking influencers, low carb ish influencers in his ear. And I think they are trying to push forward a little bit better of an agenda than what is currently going on. Is that what you were referring to a little bit earlier?
Yeah, yeah, and there's definitely, like I think we're on the right path, like, good things changes are being made, and that's wonderful, but it's still I don't know. I don't even know. I'm just thinking, like, just there we need to, like, zoom out a little bit, and I know people are still gonna eat Fruit Loops, so, yes, that's great that there won't be dyes in them, but, like, let's expand a little bit and just teach people how they should be eating anyways, and that shouldn't include Fruit Loops, regardless if there's, you know, food dyes in them or not. Like, we need to just, you know, teach proper nutrition instead of these I don't know. I don't wanna negate what they're doing because it's still great.
Agree, agree. Yeah, and maybe we'll come back to that. I did want to shift back to because I saw online. So when you did initially go carnivore, you had a pretty significant weight loss, right? It was around I want to say I think I saw something like 55 pounds. Was that accurate? Or
Yeah, it was, like, almost 60 pounds. So I was on Women's World, and it said 60 pounds, and it's like, oh, I was almost there. I was supposed to be at 60 pounds by the time we did that shoot, but it was technically, I
wait,
think,
the
like
cover of Women's World, the magazine, like in the grocery aisle.
yeah, so I wasn't in on the
That's
cover,
cool.
but, like, the name of my article was on the cover, but, like, I feel like such a liar, but I didn't mean to. So it's been said 60 pounds, but it was really, like, I think 57 or 58. But, I mean, to be honest, we're kind of drifting away from that number right now. Like, I need to get my things in check because the scale is going the wrong way lately.
Well, maybe we can figure it out because I had a question here to you because when you initially got that weight loss, was there one specific thing that you felt like you did to ultimately achieve that? Because I know you also healed a couple other things, like you mentioned Zoloft, like I think you and healed some like mental health, depression things as well. But do you at all remember one specific thing that you were doing? Was it just the consistency?
Yeah, I was definitely consistent. I know in the beginning I was eating like, I was tracking my macros because in the beginning, I'm like, "I don't even know, like, what to eat, like, how much." I wanna make sure I'm eating enough, not too much, I had no clue what I was doing, so I'm like, "I'm gonna track." So I was around 1,800 calories, I was equal parts fat and protein, so lots of burger patties, and I was having, like, some fruit in the beginning, but even after that, still having some dairy, so I lost the 45 pounds pretty quick. I mean, 9 months, I guess that isn't, like, super quick, but it felt easy, and then that 45 pounds, I mean, I was stalled for a year, and it took me a while to get, like, the next 10 off, and even then, like so I've just kind of been in this wonky place, and I don't know, maybe it's hormonal, perimenopause, one could argue lack of consistency, but it's just hard to get off that last like 10, 15, especially like as a woman, like, you guys, I swear, can lose 30 pounds overnight. It's pretty irritating.
Yeah, my wife doesn't like that. Yeah. Well, this is what's funny, and this is why I kind of brought this up because I had Brett James on, which I'm pretty sure you are familiar with. You guys
Y-
are like girlfriends, correct?
yeah, we were just talking about you a few minutes ago in our, no, I was saying I was coming on this podcast. Yeah, we talk every day. We're obsessed with each other pretty much.
Yeah, she's fantastic. Love her. She's so energetic and awesome. And I was also so I was chatting with her about this, and I was chatting with Zane Griggs about this the other day too. And he was talking about we were basically talking about like all and this is my 2 cents on a lot of these diets, and I don't know what your thoughts are, but I'm gonna toss it out, like low carb, keto, carnivore, high fat carnivore, fasting, intermittent fasting, like, in my opinion, these are all just tools. They're all tools that we need to be able to learn, we should learn, but then leverage these tools and kind of flex them cyclically so we can move past plateaus because our body will naturally want to adapt. That's like basically what our body does as human beings. That's all we've done. We've evolved on planet Earth and we've adapted, and that's what our body constantly wants to do. It searches for homeostasis. And what I was talking to Zane Griggs about was all these diets at some point run their course, like because your body will lose weight and then everything kind of regulates and levels out, and you'll get down to a body fat like your body doesn't care, right? If you've got 10 pounds to lose, you care, but your body wants to just run as effectively and as efficiently as possible. So for like the last 10 pounds, I was curious, like, did you ever try flexing in like higher protein, more moderate fat, low carb, do any of that? I was just curious if you had leveraged that at all at any point to kind of move through these sticky points for you.
Yeah, definitely. And then I think it works. And then I get burnout of tracking and being in weight loss mode and like trying hard because I feel like it's hard for me. Some people are like, "Oh my god, I forgot to eat all day." Like, no, like this is like a conscious effort to like not. I could easily be 500 pounds. I'll just put it that way, even on carnivore. So yeah, I would do that, and then I'd kind of be like, "Oh, okay." Like I'm either burnout or you're just like, "Oh, this is going great, so let me like not do this," and then the scale goes back up. So yeah, I mean, I think those definitely help, but then you have to like stick with it and not self-sabotage like I do.
Yeah, yeah, and that is the tricky part for sure. Well, and I was curious too because on your Instagram profile and YouTube, like obviously you share a lot of different recipes that you make. It like is that one way? Because I feel like the biggest problem people have with carnivore, the main thing that I see is that it's too restrictive. That's typically what I hear the most is, "Oh, I can never eat like that. I need a salad or I got to do something else." And what I find is, and this is what I found when I did carnivore for a long time, is that honestly, it's not restrictive at all. When everything kind of levels out, it's very easy and it's almost um, what's the word I'm looking for? It's so simplistic to just eat like meat and eggs. You don't have to think about what's for dinner. But I do understand for some people that that can get boring. Is there at all like a go-to recipe that you make that's like maybe your favorite that you maybe toss out to people that have those thoughts about carnivore being restrictive?
Yeah, I would say like bacon cheeseburger soup is one of my favorites. Even if you're not carnivore, like you would love it. It's fabulous if I do
Oh
say
my
so
God, that sounds
myself.
amazing.
Yeah, and it's in my book, but it's also I've shared it online. So if someone doesn't want to grab my book, just Google Courtney Luna bacon cheeseburger soup. It's super easy. Double the recipe if you want leftovers. I have a pizza recipe out there that's called Carniza, so you could search Courtney Luna Carniza. That's amazing too. And yeah, I mean, honestly, those are like my go-tos. We'll do a lasagna once in a while, but yeah, I mean, it was kind of more for like some people thrive on just having burger patties and steaks, but some people need a little bit more. And my kids need a little bit more. They're not going to want a steak all the time. So I wanted to do like different flavors and textures, but of course that it still comes from an animal, so still considered carnivore. And yeah, it just keeps it a little, more creative and fun and when you're feeling a little burnout on just the simplicity, but the simplicity is so nice. Like I will say, I'm not making pizza every day. We are eating just simple cuts of meat, but sometimes you just need to shake things up a bit.
Totally, and I feel like this is one of the things that my wife hates about me is that I can eat the same thing over and over and over again. Like, I literally have the same thing for lunch every day. I have the same thing for dinner. I make, like, a little protein yogurt, with Greek yogurt, and I literally eat those 3 things on repeat. Like, I would probably share more of my food on Instagram, but to be honest with you, it would be 3 posts and it would be done.
Well,
You
I'm
know what I
curious,
mean?
what are you eating then? So you're not carnivore anymore, right? Just low carb or
Yeah. So what I do is I kind of flex these different diets throughout the week. So like for instance, like today, I had for lunch, I had a chicken breast, a burger patty, and roasted carrots. I eat that for lunch every single day. During the week, Monday through Friday, that's lunch every single day. For dinner, like last night, I had a pound of ground beef, some shredded Parmesan on top, and I might throw on like a little pico de gallo. So it was a little carnivore-ish, but is it technically carnivore? I would say no if you want to count the little pieces of tomato and onion on top. And I put on some um, Greek yogurt, and that was it. That's what I ate that day. And then I have after every single night, I should make a post about this. My wife tells me I should make a post about this. I make a yogurt for dessert. So I'll do there's 70 grams of protein. So I'm like very much a high protein guy. So I'll do 2 servings of Greek yogurt in a bowl. I'll throw in, that prime protein, the Equip
Hmm.
protein. Yeah,
Huge
I'm a
fan.
big fan of,
Yeah.
yeah, huge fan of that. Basically has 4 ingredients. That's why I love it. Throw in some of that,
What
throw in
flavor
some,
do you do?
I do the vanilla.
Okay. Peanut
I do
butter.
the,
Do peanut butter
oh,
and
they have a,
yogurt. Oh my
oh, they have
gosh.
a peanut butter.
Oh,
I didn't even know
sure
that.
do. It's so good.
Okay. That's an easy sell on me. So I'll do that. And then I'll throw in like another scoop of like collagen peptides. It's like another 10 grams of protein. And then depending on where I'm at and what I've eaten that day and what I've had for dinner, like sometimes I'll throw in some peanut butter. Sometimes I'll throw in some like frozen blueberries, mix it together, and that's what I eat. But there's 70 grams of protein in that bowl alone. And that is literally what I eat. Absolutely Monday through Friday. That rotation does not change. It hasn't changed in 2 years.
That sounds
Yeah.
amazing. So you say during
Yeah.
the week. Sorry, I don't mean to start interviewing you, but I'm just always curious
No,
what
no,
people
that's
eat.
completely
So do
fine.
you go crazy on the weekends then?
I wouldn't say I go crazy. I definitely wouldn't say I go crazy. But I will let off the gas a little bit. Like if we go out to the movies, my kids want some Sour Patch Kids or popcorn. I'm gonna eat some Sour Patch Kids or popcorn. So I definitely approach it with like an 80-20 kind of mindset or maybe like a 90-10. If we're going out to dinner, like for instance, we went out to dinner. It was a holiday weekend last weekend. We went to Maggiano's. I never eat Italian food, right? And it's another separate story about how going out to dinner with your kids is so not worth it at all. But we went to Maggiano's. Yeah, it's like it's the biggest scam going out to dinner. It's never fun. The food's not delivered fast enough. It's never that great, and it's just like the kids are whining and crying. It's like, why are we spending money to do this again? It's like every time we go out to dinner, we're like, let's just stay home and cook. Anyways, so we go out to Maggiano's and um I ordered a like fettuccine alfredo dish. Like something I wouldn't I haven't eaten I probably haven't eaten that in maybe 5 years. Easily, maybe even more than that. And I was like, "Okay, we're out to dinner." I felt like crap. And we also got dessert afterwards. We also got dessert. We all split like a little cake. So we went to town. That was like a big time cheat meal, right? I felt like absolute trash after that, but it also kind of serves as a friendly reminder why I operate the way I operate and why I kind of do the things I do and how I eat, how the way that I eat, you know what I mean? So, yeah, so I'll let myself go just a little bit crazy sometimes on the weekend, but it's never like that crazy.
And I'm assuming it's probably, like, not triggering for you then. Like, are you a moderator? Like, you can get back on track then? Like, because for me, if I went and had a bowl of pasta, I feel like that would just spiral me and, like, I'd be eating pasta every day.
So the way that my mind works is A, so I felt like trash after I ate that, and then B, I'm like excited to get back on
Mm.
track. Like it's not necessarily I have this guilty feeling or I feel like a fat ass or anything like that. That's not how I feel, but maybe there's a little bit of that to where it's like I can't wait to get back on track and eat my normal way the next day. Because A, I don't like the way that I feel, And B, to the point I was getting at a little bit earlier, it was just so not worth taking our kids there and spending all that money for to get like underwhelming food,
Yeah.
you know? It's just like across the board, it's just like, yeah. So I would say it's easy for me to get back on track just because it's like I don't like the way that I feel, but I do feel a little slightly gross afterwards.
No, I feel that. And just to add to the kids out to dinner thing, so last weekend we went. So my husband recently made some like massive career changes. So we went out to a restaurant. It's called Mastro's. I think they're not just here, but it's expensive, and that's somewhere we would never normally go. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, we're gonna channel some like good money energy. Like we're gonna go to this nice restaurant. And my kid barfed when we got home. And I don't know if it's because he was eating bread and he had some like calamari, but he was throwing up. I'm like, he threw up everything, like a steak dinner. I'm like, you are throwing up hundreds of dollars right now. Like the one time we like splurge and he's barfing up everything. I'm like, okay, that never again. Just eat at home.
Yeah, I think the word is overrated. Going out to
Yes.
dinner really is overrated. You pay a lot of money. The food you get is basically cooked in a bunch of seed oils and crap, and you feel like trash afterwards. It's like, we paid for that?
Yeah.
We paid for that? My son is sick, like, we
Yeah.
paid for that? Like, I hear you, man. I hear you on that one. Um, I wanted to go back a little bit earlier about, we were talking about carnivore and maybe some misconceptions around it or what people think being it too restrictive. Like on your end, what do you, because in my opinion, I think people look at it as too restrictive, but on your side of things, what do you feel like what you feel the biggest misconception is with people coming into carnivore or looking at the carnivore diet and having thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, in regards to the restriction, like for me, like the restriction equals freedom. Like me right now having some bites of my kids' food here and there, like that doesn't make me feel good. Like, and it's not even like I feel bad mentally because I'm not supposed to have this. Like, no, like my clothes aren't fitting. I don't feel like motivated. Like, I just kind of feel in a funk and I just don't feel good. So, eating, restrictive makes me feel my best. And as someone, that has like digestive issues, like them going to the bathroom 10 times a day eating crap, that's not restrictive. But dialing things in and eating proper nutrition, like that's really good. So yeah, I think that's like the main thing. And in a way, like I feel like I'm one to talk since I'm like totally not on track right now. But when I am, it's good, Like I need to stop being such an addict where I want these other things because then it's just a vicious cycle. When I'm eating strict carnivore, like my mind is so much more quiet. It's peaceful and I feel good. My body starts feeling better and I just feel, I don't know, like light in your loafers. Like I feel very heavy in my loafers right now and I don't like feel my best. But when you're eating good and you're feeling good, you're also mentally like, "Oh, like, this is good. Like, I'm on the right track. I'm feeling good," and it's very motivating. So yeah, I just I'm hearing myself talk. I'm like, "What am I doing? I need to, like,
I
get back at
I'm gonna
it."
ask you right now, what's holding you back? Because I know you asked me earlier, like, can you eat that pasta and then get back on track the next day? And I think really the answer I was searching for was, I want to start feeling good as quickly as possible, And so I guess my question is, how good you feel. What do you think what do you think the thing is that's holding you back from
I
just getting back on tomorrow or
I
right now?
honestly think it's like the sugar addiction, really. I feel sometimes like I am such an addict. Like, I'm 4 years sober. I don't drink or do drugs anymore, but I feel like a drug addict sometimes with it. Like a few
Interesting.
months ago, and I even talked about this on a video, but it was when I was intentionally adding carbs back in. I'm like, let's just give it a shot and see how I feel. And there was one night where I was telling my husband, I'm like, you need to go to Yogurtland right now. I'm like, do not tell me no. Go get us some Yogurtland. He's like, okay. Like, it's kind of like sometimes like it's kind of fun to like cheat together like that. But I mean, those behaviors, that's what I was doing when I was gaining 40 pounds in 4 months. Like, I was in the McDonald's drive through getting a McFlurry every night when the kids are in bed, because it's like I didn't even have the control to not. So I feel like if someone's like an addict in some other aspects of their life, I think they'll understand that it's like an itch you can't scratch, or it's like you got to scratch that itch, I guess.
Yeah.
And just like working through, like if there's a donut right here, just working through that, like, oh, I shouldn't have it. But like once you've had the taste, like you want that. and it's so hard to just shake, but that goes away when I'm strict carnivore. But if I'm
Yeah.
having things here and there, then it's chaos.
Yeah, I hear you. It kind of reminds me of a conversation. So I had Dr. Sarah Zaldivar on. She's a carnivore doctor.
Mhm,
You probably heard about her. The majority of our podcast was talking about dopamine
mhm.
and like being able to rewire the brain. And what she was telling me was, I can't remember the exact way that she framed it, but she said what's even more powerful than, like, giving into the addiction and the fastest way to rewire your brain, and I know this is obviously hard for anyone to do that has, like, any sort of addictive personality, but it's like that one time where you wanted your husband to go to Yogurtland and your brain is telling you, like, tell hubby to go to Yogurtland right now. If you deny yourself that one time, what you do is you basically start laying down that first pathway to break that cycle. And that's all you need to do is that one time is actually more powerful than continuously giving in to dopamine. Or yeah, that's exactly what she was saying. So it just kind of made me think like in the past when you have run into those types of things, is there at all can you remember, like, a thing that you might have done to help break the cycle and get you back on track?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of tips on what to do, but sometimes it's
Sure.
like you don't care. Like you literally don't care because the addiction is so strong. Like it is like super wild. But yeah, like in the moment, you can just like sit with your feelings. How uncomfortable is that? You sit there and you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh my gosh, I really want to go get Yogurtland right now." And the feeling is so strong and it's so hard to fight it, but I'm going to fight it. I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to feel uncomfortable because you're not hungry for it. Like it's not like you're here starving and there's no stakes. Like it is, like you said, like a dopamine thing and you're wanting that dopamine hit. So yeah, if you can just sit through the emotions or, just know that the cravings can come in waves so you can do something to distract yourself, do something else to get your dopamine hit. Like do some
Mm,
squats, do some push-ups, go for a walk. In the moment, like you could have like I like bubbly water some because it's always like your mouth wants something. It's not like you're necessarily hungry, but have a pinch of salt on your tongue, have a bite of butter.
mm,
But yeah, I love Zaldivar and everything she's sharing. And it's like her stuff is like raising your baseline dopamine. And so we've chatted a lot and she's helped me here and there with some ideas and whatnot. But yeah, it's 100% a dopamine thing because it's interesting. I don't know, like maybe this isn't appropriate to talk on your channel, but I'm like, okay, how do you reverse engineer cocaine? Okay. Because when someone, so I've heard, were to do cocaine, it flips a switch where you don't want food. Like you don't want to eat it. So it's like, what is
yeah.
it doing to your brain? Is it just a dopamine thing? Like, so I just find it's interesting that it's something going on. It's some sort of chemical. So I'm assuming just like dopamine, but it's interesting how it's a switch. It's weird.
Yeah, I think there's some hunger blunting effects with it, for sure. It's like and I can say this because, when I was prescribed it's the same thing with, like, methamphetamines, like Adderall.
Mhm.
So, I was on Adderall. I was prescribed Adderall when I was in, like, early elementary school, you know? Um, I think it was no, I was originally prescribed Ritalin when I was probably, like, in the 1st or 2nd grade, and then I flipped to Adderall when I was in high school. The doctor flipped me on Adderall, and then I took that till I was about 30. So I was medicated every single day with Adderall, and the one thing that I noticed because it made you not wanna eat anything, and I think, like, the methamphetamines kinda work like that, they just turn off the hunger signals, and I don't know why they do that, but I what was happening when I was in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, what was happening and this is why the doctor ultimately flipped me to Adderall, and again, like, this was a long time ago, my mom didn't know any difference, like, there was no way I'd have my kids on Adderall ever at this point, but I was going through these binge eating episodes when I was in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade because the Ritalin wasn't strong enough, it would wear off towards the end of the day, and I was like, "Mom, let's go to McDonald's, let's do this, let's do that." And I was slowly starting to gain weight. So by the time I was in the 8th grade, out of nowhere, I was like the fat kid in the friend group. You know what I mean? But again, going back to these substances, I think they just have very strong hunger blunting effects that like kind of flip your brain to focus on other things instead of food, but people use Adderall for like weight loss. Not good, but I think that's why, because it's similar to cocaine, I think, in that way.
Yeah, it's doing something because trust me, I have Googled this. I'm like, how do I reverse engineer what this is doing for people? And yeah, it's doing something with your hunger hormones and like the ghrelin. And yeah, it's doing something to, like you said, blunt that. It's interesting.
While we're on this topic, I want to ask your thoughts on this. What do you think of GLP-1s?
Okay. I have a lot to say. I,
Sure.
when initially when they came out, I'm like, that's ridiculous. You're taking the easy way out. Just put in the hard work, blah, blah, blah. And then I have friends that have started taking them because they were putting in the work and doing carnivore and carnivoring harder, and they couldn't get the 10, 15 pounds off, the last 10, 15 pounds. But I've learned that it's more than that. So I'm just going to use my friend Adrienne, for example, because she's the most like outspoken about this. Adrienne Gledhill. So, did all the things, carnivore, starting fast, lion diet, still couldn't lose like the last 15, 20, or 30, I think it even was. When she started it, I think she said she lost like 15 pounds in 2 weeks. Like, she's like, I was just constantly peeing. So it's like, obviously that's not fat, but you're losing all this inflammation. And she's like, I was
Mm.
tracking my food. She's like, I wasn't even eating any less. My calories were the same, yet I lost 15 pounds.
So
So
she was just losing water weight mostly?
yeah, and like inflammation. So she also has like some mold stuff going on. And she's like, my brain felt alive again. So it's interesting what it's doing because it's not just for weight loss. They're using it for addictions too. They're using it for people that have gambling addictions, alcohol addictions, and it's like turning that switch off. So I find it fascinating. I'm also Googling how do I reverse engineer that? And, so there are ways that you can try and naturally increase your GLP-1 because I've always joked, oh, well, you don't have an Ozempic deficiency. It's like, well, you kind of do because it's a GLP-1 and our body makes that. So I find it fascinating. I am still like, I probably won't ever do it, to be honest.
Mhm.
Just there's just a little doubt there because it is a pharmaceutical, but
Sure.
it is I am jealous of people that are on it because they just have it easy now, it feels like. They can have some things and not be strict carnivore, have some things and that food noise is off. And the desire to overeat isn't there. They're not binging anymore. They've lost their weight. Like on paper, it sounds like really appealing. So I have changed my tune to be less judgmental about it because I am
Mm.
seeing the other benefits that it's bringing. That being said, I probably won't do it for myself, even though it is tempting. I do think about it often.
Yeah, they're it's interesting. I've got a lot of thoughts on it. I think the way it's prescribed, because I follow like a lot of like biohackers and a guy named Jay Campbell. I don't know if you're familiar. He's like a big testosterone guy. He's like the testosterone guy on the internet. So you might not follow him, obviously. But the the doses that they prescribed in like a traditional medical setting are high, very high. What he is saying is you can almost microdose these GLP-1s, and then you won't get the benefit, or you won't get the side effects, because basically the main side effect is muscle mass loss, right? Because people are just not eating and they're not hungry and they're losing a lot of muscle mass, right? So what he was saying is you can get a lot of benefits just by microdosing these. And I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but I think there are ways to go about it. Going through like if like I use Merrick Health, for instance, for like telemedicine. So I do like peptide stuff through them. Um, but I was talking to a guy over there and he was like, yeah, a lot of people, to your point, use these for gambling addictions, um, pornography, alcohol, I mean, you name it, because it does shift that dopamine in the brain in regards to like wanting more of whatever it is that you have an issue controlling. But he was saying the amount that they are prescribed in a traditional medical setting is just way too high, and that's where people run into issues. You do them in small microdoses.
Yeah, agree, and I probably should have mentioned that too, so that's what Adrian is talking about too, microdosing, because, yeah, what the doctors are giving out is, 7.5 or whatever, and they're talking about, like, even, like, point 0.5 or 0.25, so, yes, microdosing these things that like, the stomach paralysis and the blindness and whatever is
Yeah.
happening at regular doses, and that's, like, not an appropriate dose, that yeah, the dosing would be where it's at.
So I know we're already coming up here on time. Things kind of flew by there. I mean, I thought this was an awesome conversation. I say let's make a pact. What are your thoughts on making a pact? Right when we're off this episode, you get back on track.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. Now, this is
Sure.
where my mind goes.
Okay.
Lately, I'm like, what is back on track? Because I have so many opinions in my head and I see other people's comments that we shouldn't be strict carnivore, that we need to be flexing in and out. And it's not good for our hormones and our thyroid. But then you hear other people that are very pro carnivore and saying that's not true. So I have so many different opinions that's why I almost have a hard time getting back on track because I'm like, what if that's not right? Like maybe I should
Mm,
once in a while flex out. And then I flex out and then I spiral. So that's kind of like the conflict that's going in my head is there's just so many conflicting opinions. But then I look back, I'm like, okay, well, right now what I'm doing is not working, and carnivore was working. So maybe I do need to go back.
I think I've got some ideas here. We're gonna figure this out. So, and this is what I was talking with Britt a lot because I know she was, chatting with Dr. Kiltz and Maria Emmerich about different things in her life that she's got going on. But what if you were to start off high fat carnivore just to like get you back in that way of eating and then flex in throughout the week moderate fat, higher protein meals. So I don't know how many times a day that you eat if you eat like 3 or 2 or 1 or whatever, but you would flex in a high fat carnivore meal for one meal, and then you would flex in a more moderate fat, higher protein meal for the next meal, and that will keep you full, right? The protein is the satiating macronutrient, the fat is the satisfying one, and that could help you get back in. And then as you're progressing and back on track, what you could do is systematically lower the fat. And I know a lot of carnivore people are not going to want to hear me say that, but I can't tell you how many people I was talking to about. I was talking to Craig Emmerich about this. Like he has so many people coming to him from high fat carnivore that are like putting on weight and their blood markers are completely like out of whack and they're insulin resistant. And it's like a lot of times they just drop the fat, go higher protein. It fixes the majority of the problem. But you can, and this is what I was talking about, flexing these diets in, but do it throughout the week. So have a high fat day, have a high protein day, have another high fat day, have a high protein day until you're kind of going down the road, right? You kind of get going, build some momentum, and then you can, based off where you're at or whatever it is you want to go. Let's say you want to lose weight, I would just go higher protein, moderate fat until you get to where you're at. And then you want to flip the macros back, because I think high fat carnivore is really, really good. I do, but I don't think it's great for weight loss. This is exactly what I was talking with Brett about, right? I think high fat carnivore is very good for healing. Like a traditional ketogenic diet is great for a lot of like mental health, depression, all those types of things. But the problem is, like we were talking about this at the beginning, the body adapts, right? Hormones will regulate. But if you're looking at that diet for weight loss, it's like when you're eating that much fat, the body's not going to want to tap into stored body fat. If the fat coming in through the diet's too high, the body's going to sense that you're in a very abundant food environment, and it has no reason to tap into stored body fat to lose the weight. So you got to flip the macros. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but that's what I would do.
No, and I agree. And this is Steph, yeah, Britt, she's gonna love hearing her name throughout this. I'll have to tell her we talked about her.
Yeah.
That's what we talk about like all the time. Like we're constantly like talking to each other about our food and what we're doing and what should we do and this and that and questioning things. And yeah, like she tried high fat for a little bit, and
Hmm.
is back on like the higher protein. And yeah, that's what I was doing for a while, lowering my fat, had some good success, and then kind of like fell off of that. And here I am with the scale back up. So yeah, I think there's like like you said, there's different times for things. Like I lost 45 pounds with being equal fat and protein, like 130 grams
Mhm.
of fat, 130 grams of protein. So that worked out good for me until it didn't. And then
Yeah,
I had to lower the fat and then I tried the higher fat. So it's kind of like I feel like we do need different things at different times. But yeah, I 100% agree with what you're saying with the higher fat and moderating, or no, higher protein and moderating the fat a little bit, at least for this last few pounds. But then it's like, then you see Kelly Hogan eating like 300 grams of fat and she's, thin as a rail. So it's just interesting how our bodies are different too and what they're needing at the time.
totally, and this is exactly what I was talking with Zane Griggs about. It's like, I think what people need to be comfortable doing, and this is again one of the reasons why I think nutrition should be taught in school at a very young age and then every single grade, right? Is what you ingest in your body over the course of your life is like really important. You should try different diets, like try keto, try carnivore, try high fat carnivore, try these different diets because we're all different and everyone's body's a little bit different and reacts to them differently. But you should try all these different diets like protein sparing, modified fast, all these different things to see what your body ultimately responds well to. And then you've got the tools in the tool belt, right? Based off where you're at in your life, or if you get on track or what you want to do, you can you can take out the right tool when you need it and know when to flex it. You know what I mean? But I think the problem is people don't want to consistently change their diet. That's the big thing. People don't well, they want to set it and forget it, and they want to be on something, and then they want to be on it for as long as possible because it's easy and convenient. But the problem is, again, the body adapts. So I think what the trick here is people need to get comfortable changing and flexing different diets to ultimately get what they want out of their body.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%.
I had some rapid fire questions here. I know we're coming up here on time. So I have this rapid fire question section that I sometimes like to do with guests. So maybe this might stimulate some carnivore ideas for you on your end. Okay. If you had to eat only one carnivore meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Mm, gosh, that's really hard. I mean, I would say like one of my pizzas, but then if you're going with just like a cut of meat, I would say ribeye.
A ribeye. Yeah, it's so hard to turn down a good ribeye,
Yes.
man. A grilled ribeye, yeah, with some like butter on it.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
dinner tonight. I have a whole pack from Costco in the fridge.
Yeah, I would either go ribeye or honestly, I could probably eat steak and eggs for the rest of my life. Like, that's an easy one there. Okay, top 3 habits someone can implement today to break through a weight loss plateau.
Okay. I would, if you're tracking, I would shake up your macros. Like you said, if you're higher fat, I would lower it. If you've been a little too lean, up your fat a little bit. Make sure you're eating enough. I would get outside. I would get morning light. I would stay off your phone at night, stay off your phone in the morning, and really like work on your circadian rhythm. And I would get some movement in. Definitely get some walks in. If you can, I would lift heavy weights or even just doing some body weight, but we need to be lifting heavy weights, especially as women, especially as we get older. We need it for our bone density. We need it to protect our muscles or protect our bones if we were to have a fall. We want that muscle to protect itself. And that's going to change your body composition. And I'm saying
Exactly.
this knowing that I need to get back at that too, because surprise, surprise, I'm so inconsistent with my workouts. But I know getting back into the gym and lifting weights, it also helps you make better decisions with your food. And it just changes the body composition. Like the scale could stay the same. So I wouldn't even focus on the scale. I would still, weigh yourself, but I would take before and after photos. I would take measurements because, yeah, lifting weights is where it's at. Okay, fine. I'll listen to my husband. He's been trying to get me back
Mm.
to the gym. And he's always right. So yeah, I think that's the main thing is lifting.
100%. I'm a big workout guy. My wife and I, we got a garage gym, and that's our go-to therapy. My, morning therapy session is, strength training in the gym. So yeah, I totally am on board with you there. What's the most shocking change you experienced when you cut plants completely out of your diet?
That no gas or bloating. Like, I think we are so used to being just so gassy throughout the day. And especially, oh my gosh, the low carb tortillas I used to eat, and I'd have 4 of them because I can't moderate. And there's 12 grams of fiber for each one, like the stomach pains. But yeah, I think we're just so used to being gassy. And if you cut out the
Totally.
plants, there is no gas. It's wild. And if you go super strict and like don't even have seasonings, like there's not even a smell when you go to the bathroom. So I will say, even if you have seasonings, like then that smell kind of comes back. But it's just wild, like what only eating meat and animal products, dairy, all that, like what that does for your digestion. Like it's wonderful.
100% agree. 100%. And these are the spicy conversations that I have with my wife because she doesn't eat the same way that I do. She used to be a nutritional therapy practitioner, so she has her own thoughts on diet and what women should eat and how men should eat. She says that we need to be eating completely different, and I'm not going to argue with her on that. But she I probably shouldn't say this on the podcast in regards to her tummy troubles, but I do tell her, I was like, "Hey, if you're having tummy troubles, like, cut the plants back, girl. Like, I promise you,
Yeah, it's the
you'll
fiber.
yeah, 100%." What's the one food you'd never let your kids touch and why?
Oh, that I've never.
Yeah,
I mean, I would say, like, I don't think my younger one has had soda. But I don't does she even know what it is? I don't even know. But it's not so much like you aren't allowed to have that. Like, I've just never been a big soda drinker. But now, I mean, even though they've had some stuff, like, I feel like the red dye 40, like, that's like a hard line. Like, if you have a cupcake at a party, that's fine, but you're not picking the red one. But they've had it in the past. But now I know better.
yeah, totally. Yeah, I don't know. That's a hard one for me too. I mean, I think the seed oil things are big, and they're just so dang hard to avoid, especially if you're going out to eat. But if we were talking about this earlier, if birthday parties could just stop giving like cake and maybe give something else, that would like make everyone's life easier after a birthday party. That just needs to stop being a thing. 100%. Um, what are 3 mistakes you see most people make with their diet that stops them from reaching their goals?
3 mistakes. Like in carnivore specifically, I don't know,
Sure.
that's tough. I would say some people say they don't eat enough, which is just so wild to me. I've never been an undereater, but I see people that are just not eating enough. And then once they eat enough, then they're like breaking through these weight loss stalls. So that would be a thing, which I don't totally understand. Um, Gosh, what's hindering them? I would say knowing yourself if you're an abstainer versus moderator, going
Sure.
I definitely see, like, how you're eating some things off plan, and that's fine. I would just be wary for some people that it could be, like, a slippery slope. Like, for me, when we were keto, it was, like, cheat meals every weekend, like, that was just a thing. That's what everyone in keto did, and my cheat meal would lead to a cheat day, cheat weekend. So, I think just being mindful about even what you're eating, if flexing with some carbs, so maybe, like, keep it, like, non-triggering, like an avocado or kimchi or, something that's not gonna be sweet and triggering, cravings for you. Um, I don't know if I can think of another one. You're making me use my brain today. Another mistake someone's using. I don't know. I can't think of another one.
No, that's fine. The last one here is if someone feels stuck and unmotivated, what 3 mindset shifts or actions can they take right now to get momentum back on track?
Okay, so this is, like, what I need to tell myself too.
Exactly,
Um,
exactly.
go for a walk. Go for a walk, get some sunshine outside, like and I've kind of fallen off of that, honestly, because 'cause it's been so hot here, and it's just like, ugh, going outside, like, I even have my weighted vest sitting right here next to me. I love going for a walk and a podcast, and I haven't been doing that because it's just been, like, so uncomfortably hot. So, no excuses, like, get some steps in at the gym. What else can you do? I think self-talk is so important, and I find myself struggling with it. I'm looking in the mirror, I'm like, "Oh, like, I don't feel good, like, I'm not doing great, I'm this and that." So, like, telling yourself that, like, "Oh, I'm not doing a good job, I'm not on track, I'm this and that," like, that's not good. Like, so we
Yeah.
need to, like, shift our mindsets, talk nicely to yourself, practice gratitude and, just get your mindset right. And, what was the initial question, if you're feeling off track?
Yeah, yeah. So if someone feels stuck and unmotivated, what three mindset shifts or actions can they take right now to get momentum back?
Okay, so yeah, I would just, focus on making the next bite right. So I think for me, I'm an all or nothing person. So it's like if you had something like in the morning, it's off plan. It's like, oh, well, the whole day's ruined. I'm just going to eat all the things and then I'll try again tomorrow. So that's probably not a helpful mindset to have. So if you make the next bite right, so get back on track for the next meal. Don't wait for the next day. Don't wait till Monday. Like, do it now. And yeah, do it now. Even with exercise, don't wait till Monday to start your diet. Do it now.
I like that. I like that phrase right there. Make the next bite right. That's
I heard
good.
someone else, I don't know who I heard say it, but yeah, it hit when I heard that too. I thought it was great.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. So what's coming up for you, Courtney? Like what's on the horizon for you before we wrap up?
I mean, not necessarily any, like, projects, probably never doing a cookbook again. That was intense.
Yeah,
I do have an event in May, so Meat Stock 2026 in the Smoky Mountains, so we still have tickets available. Come hang out with us. Like it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be massive, so that will be amazing. But honestly, we're hitting the road in January. We are ditching our house. We are moving into our van. We are gonna go travel across America, do some camping, do some Airbnbs. And honestly, this just like came to life like over the last like week or two. So, which is like chaotic. It's gonna be amazing, but it's gonna be
that's
wild.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's way awesome. How long would you guys do that for?
I mean, it's all up in the air. So, like I said, my husband made some career changes. So now he can work on the road and we can just do what we do on the road. So we're open to maybe even seeing other states that we would maybe want to live in. But I would say we'd probably come back to California because we do just have it so good with like the weather and it's not very buggy. Like I'm very like Goldilocks with situations like that. But yeah, we're just gonna go show the kids the States and not really an end in sight. Maybe at least come back home for the holidays. So, but yeah, we're just kind of gonna just see where the wind takes us.
Very cool. Well, that I mean, when if you so when would you guys do that? That sounds like it's soon. Is that in like in a couple weeks or within a month?
Mid January.
Oh, mid-January. Okay,
Yeah.
so like basically beginning of the year.
Yeah. So a
Yeah,
few more months and yeah, we'll be documenting on social media. So be
very cool.
interesting.
Very cool. Well, Courtney, this was fantastic. Where can people find you online, get in contact with you, all that good stuff? Pick up the cookbook.
Yeah, thank you. So my book, Carnivore in the Kitchen, it's on Amazon, Barnes& and Noble, Target, Walmart. It's in some select Barnes& and Nobles, so, use the store locator before you go into one, but Amazon is usually, like, the cheapest. And let's see, I'm on all the platforms. It's Courtney Luna, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. There's, like, recipes on Pinterest. I have a free private Facebook group as well if somebody wants community and support. Did I say YouTube? So I do some like vlogs and stuff over on too. So like more like longer videos. Yeah.
Yeah,
So come.
you have a great channel there.
Thank you. So yeah, it will be
Yeah.
shifting a little bit to incorporate our van life next year. But yeah, anyone can just slide into my DMs on Instagram and say hi, and I'd love to connect with anyone.
Absolutely. Well, again, I appreciate your time, Courtney. This was fantastic. And thanks, guys, so much for listening to the Low Carb Consultant Podcast. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Thank you.